Welcome to Life Change Ministry. Hi, my name is Susan Jackson, author and founder of Life Change. Today, what I'd like to do is I'd like to go over the debate that just happened with President Trump and Kamala Harris. And I'd like to give my opinions and my views on what happened. First of all, I'd like to welcome you to this channel. Welcome to Life Change Ministry. Uh, I also have a webpage if you'd like to tune into that. It's lcmlifechangeministry.com. You can also connect with me on Facebook. I'm currently teaching the Word of God on Facebook and have been for years. So with that, welcome to Life Change Ministry. Today I'm going to be using a video clip of the presidential debate, and I'm going to play some of it and then kind of come in and just give opinions as to what I feel the Spirit is telling me as to the times that we're living in. The first thing that I noticed through the debate was that uh, I feel like President Trump just wasn't prepared. He was not prepared, whereas Kamala Harris was very well prepared. And being that we've been listening to President Biden for the last 4 years, and how they have kind of kept him from speaking, this was a grave shock, I believe, to everyone. How Kamala just came out there and she was just like knew what her mission and where she was headed. And so, with that, let's go ahead. Without further ado, this is an unbiased, I'm going to give an unbiased approach. And I want to give the truth of uh, my perspective on this debate. And so, with that, I'm going to go ahead and put this up here and press play. And the first thing she does is she really goes out of her way to shake his hand.
Welcome to you both. It's wonderful to have you. It's an honor to have you both here tonight.
Good evening. We are looking forward to a spirited and thoughtful debate.
So let's get started. I want to begin tonight with the issue that voters repeatedly say is their number one issue, and that is the economy and the cost of living in this country. Vice President Harris, you and President Trump were elected 4 years ago, and your opponent on the stage here tonight often asks his supporters, are you better off than you were 4 years ago? When it comes to the economy, do you believe Americans are better off than they were 4 years ago?
So I was raised as a middle class kid, and I am actually the only person on this stage who has a plan that is about lifting up the middle class and working people of America. I believe in the ambition, the aspirations, the dreams of the American people. And that is why I imagine and have actually a plan to build what I call an opportunity economy. Because here's the thing. We know that we have a shortage of homes and housing, and the cost of housing is too expensive for far too many people. We know that young families need support to raise their children, and I intend on extending a tax cut for those families of $6,000, which is the largest child tax credit that we have given in a long time, so that those young families can afford to buy a crib, buy a car seat, buy clothes for their children. My passion, one of them, is small businesses. My mother raised my sister and me, but there was a woman who helped raise us. We call her our second mother. She was a small business owner. I love our small businesses. My plan is to give a $50,000 tax deduction to start up small businesses, knowing they are part of the backbone of America's economy. My opponent, on the other hand, his plan is to do what he has done before, which is to provide a tax cut for billionaires and big corporations, which will result in $5 trillion to America's deficit. My opponent has a plan that I call the Trump's sales tax, which would be a 20% tax on everyday goods that you rely on to get through the month. Economists have said that Trump sales tax would actually result for middle class families in about $4,000 more a year because of his policies and his ideas about what should be the backs of middle class people paying for tax cuts for billionaires.
President Trump, I'll give you 2 minutes.
First of all, I have no sales tax. That's an incorrect statement. She knows that. We're doing tariffs on other countries. Other countries are going to.
Okay. What I'd like to say is Kamala comes out boldly and she says, you know what? I come from a middle class family. And she's like, what I plan on doing for the middle class is giving them a $6,000 benefit. Okay. on taxes. She's like, I love small businesses, and I would like to give a $50,000 tax credit to small business owners, which I got to tell you were slammed when everything was locked down. I can't imagine owning a business and then having to close and not being able to go to work and still having to pay your electric, your water, your gas, everything, your overhead. And so, just like the school systems were closed during 2020 and beyond, they're having a hard time getting back as well, catching the children up, which I believe they're doing a phenomenal job of catching up, and but it's taken a couple of years. So let's see what President Trump has to say about the economy and what he plans on doing.
To finally, after 75 years, pay us back for all that we've done for the world. And the tariff will be substantial in some cases. I took in billions and billions of dollars, as you know, from China. In fact, they never took the tariff off because it was so much money they can't. They would totally destroy everything that they've set out to do. They're taking in billions of dollars from China and other places. They've left the tariffs on. When I had it, I had tariffs, and yet I had no inflation. Look, we've had a terrible economy because inflation has, which is really known as a country buster, it breaks up countries. We have inflation like very few people have ever seen before, probably the worst in our nation's history. We were at 21%, but that's being generous because many things are 50, 60, 70, and 80% higher than they were just a few years ago. This has been a disaster for people, for the middle class, but for every class. On top,
I would like to say yes, it has been a disaster for many people. They're really having a hard time struggling. Just ask Generation X, and now you have Y and Z. I mean, just ask them, how they're handling everything and how they're looking forward to buying their first home, and living the American dream. But what I want to hit here is him not being prepared. And I say that because yes, he said that he was going to put tariffs on people around the globe that would help us. But he didn't really. Then he goes back into what the economy is right now. I haven't heard yet what he plans on doing for the economy. I'm going to go ahead and let him continue.
top of that, we have millions of people pouring into our country from prisons and jails, from mental
Now he's going into the border, which wasn't the question. Okay. The question was, what do you plan on doing for the economy in the year 2025 and beyond?
institutions and insane asylums, and they're coming in and they're taking jobs that are occupied right now by African Americans and Hispanics, and also unions. Unions are going to be affected very soon. And you see what's happening. You see what's happening with towns throughout the United States. You look at Springfield, Ohio. You look at Aurora in Colorado. They are taking over the towns. They're taking over buildings. They're going in violently. These are the people that Xi and Biden led into our country, and they're destroying our country. They're dangerous. They're at the highest level of criminality, and we have to get them out. We have to get them out fast. I created one of the greatest.
See, and this is how he wasn't prepared, because he quickly goes into the border crisis, which, yes, there is a border crisis. Yes, we do know that we have thugs that are moving into Colorado. They say that there are some that are in Texas. They just haven't reared their heads yet, and they are taking over certain apartment complexes and from slumlords that really aren't doing anything. We do see crime on the rise. We do know these things are happening. But the question was, what are your plans for the future economy? Now, let's see if he can give us an answer.
Economies in the history of our country. I'll do it again and even better.
We are going to get to immigration and border security.
Another thing I would like for him to do is quit saying I. Okay. When President Trump talks, and I love President Trump, but I'm going to try and give an unbiased view. Okay. Someone that just is coming in that doesn't know who they want to vote for. Okay. I would prefer him not to keep always saying I. It's written in the Word of God that in the last days, people are going to be lovers of themselves. Now, am I saying that he is a lover of himself? No. What I'm saying is He needs to get his mind off of himself and onto the American people. Okay. I think for a lot of us, we're tired of hearing about the past, and just like Kamala has suggested, yes, let's leave the past where it is and let's move forward to future things. I really liked that she said that. Um, and we don't want to hear about how he did this and how he did that and how he did this. We want to hear, what are you going to do for the future? Amen. Okay, so with that, I'm going to go ahead, and here is the next question.
This debate, but
Quickly.
I would like to let Vice President Harris respond on the economy here.
Well, I would love to. Let's talk about what Donald Trump left us. Donald Trump left us the worst unemployment since the Great Depression.
Okay, now instead of continuing with her ideas for the future, now she's attacking President Trump, or ex-president, President 45. She's attacking him because she, I guess, nervous, I don't know, is shifting the blame. She's shifting the blame toward him. That way she doesn't have to answer the question. Um, and so, I am not bashing Kamala Harris. I think she did a great job. I think that she was fully prepared. I think as a woman, she really stood her ground. I think that, her preparedness has wowed a lot of viewers. I think that President Trump could have been more prepared. And another thing that I really wanted to hit with this was the two-state solution. Now, the question was asked about the two-state solution, and one of the things about the two-state solution, because President Trump kind of came off that, she hated Israel, and she came out blatantly and said, no, I do not hate Israel. I do understand what happened on October 7th. I do understand that there were over 1,200 Israelites that were brutally raped and tortured and abused. And, her heart goes out to all them. They do still have people who are coming up, missing. That we still do have people who they have holding, okay, hostages, right? And so she says no, that, but she does want a two-state solution, but so does President Trump. And this is my argument with evangelicals, Christians, people who call themselves Christians. They're so into Trump, 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 when President Trump also wants a two-state solution. It's important that you know the facts, because here he does. He wants a two-state solution as well, and was convinced his last presidency, when he made the Abrahamic Accords, to divide the land of Israel. Now, one thing the Bible is clear about is that it's an eye for an eye when it comes to God, his land, and his people. If you bless his people, you will be blessed. But it's written in the word that if you curse God's people, you would be cursed. Now, I believe in my heart that the Lord does not want the land divided. And I say that because it's written in the book of Joel that this is part of his wrath, is because they divide his land. It is written, it's clearly written. And so, what is this division of the land going to bring? It's important that you know. Well, I have another video of Jared Kushner explaining the Abrahamic Accords, because not everyone knows what all it entailed. So I'm just going to pull that up for you here rather quickly. Now, this is the national news.
Do you think people should be optimistic about the possibility of a two-state solution? Do you believe in a two-state solution in the long run?
Yeah. So, look, people can come together as countries without agreeing on every geopolitical issue, right? That's the notion of geopolitics. But President Trump has been probably more detailed than anyone else in the world in terms of laying out what he believes the realistic prescription should be for a resolution of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. President Trump's vision that he laid out is a two-state solution. but it's a two-state solution that properly recognizes Israel's security threats and how to mitigate them, but then also deals with the fact that you can't just draw a line and then expect people to get along. You have to also empower the Palestinian people, both through their culture, their institutions, and then also through their economy. So it's a very, very detailed proposal. And I think that if you did one element without the others, I don't think it would be successful long term. But if you can work together on the whole package, I think it's a recipe for the Palestinian people to really thrive, have self determination, have the state of their own, live securely, live in peace, get along with the Israelis, integrate into the region, and have tremendous economic opportunity.
Now, it's written in Joel 3:2. It says, I will gather all nations and bring them down to the valley of Jehoshaphat, and I will enter into judgment with them there on behalf of my people and my heritage Israel, because they have scattered them among the nations and have divided up my land. Now, what is God saying here? God is saying that it's going to bring judgment when you divide the land of Israel. If one Israelite is taken out of the West Bank, I'm telling you, God is going to judge whomever is responsible for that. It's written. Also, too, we have in Genesis 12:3, it says, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all peoples on earth will be blessed through you. So this is God calling Abraham. He says, you know what, Abraham, I'm going to make you into a great nation. Here's where he's calling Gentiles, not just the Jews, but Gentiles alike. America, which was founded on godly principles. I will bless you. I will make your name great so that you will be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you and curse those who curse you. And all the families of the earth will be blessed through you. Right? So this is the promise that he promised Abraham. I also believe that if they do, in fact, come rather quickly, this is Kamala Harris's view on the two-state solution.
War and the hostages who are still being held, Americans among them. Vice President Harris, in December, you said, quote, Israel has a right to defend itself, but you added, quote, it matters how, saying international humanitarian law must be respected. Israel must do more to protect innocent civilians. You said that 9 months ago. Now an estimated 40,000 Palestinians are dead. Nearly 100 hostages remain. Just last week, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said there's not a deal in the making. President Biden has not been able to break through the stalemate. How would you do it?
Well, let's understand how we got here. On October 7th, Hamas, a terrorist organization, slaughtered 1,200 Israelis, many of them young people who were simply attending a concert. Women were horribly raped. And so absolutely, I said then, I say now, Israel has a right to defend itself. We would. And how it does so matters, because it is also true, far too many innocent Palestinians have been killed. Children, mothers. What we know is that this war must end. It must end immediately, and the way it will end is we need a ceasefire deal and we need the hostages out. And so we will continue to work around the clock on that. Work around the clock, also understanding that we must chart a course for a two-state solution. And in that solution, there must be security for the Israeli people and Israel, and in equal measure for the Palestinians. But the one thing I will assure you always, I will always give Israel the ability to defend itself, in particular as it relates to.
In closing, rather quickly, I do believe that if they do, whoever wins the presidency, whoever divides the land of Israel, this is, I believe, just where we're headed. Okay, we see in Matthew 24 wars and rumors of wars. We see pestilence, we see disease, we see these things happening, we see them accruing, we see lawlessness abounding, we see with transgenderism overtaking the Olympics, and overtaking scholarships in the high schools and the schools, and the crazy things being imposed on our children. We see them trying to take the rights from parents. We see lawlessness abounding. Okay. And moving forward, you know, I believe in Daniel 9:27, it says that they will confirm a covenant with many in Daniel 9:27. And I believe that if they divide the land of Israel right now, regardless what their intentions are, regardless if they want to go in and help the Palestinians, not to build up their nation, to keep the Houthis from coming in and taking over, to establish them like they tried to do in Iraq and in Afghanistan, you know, uh, you know, that they're going to protect Israel's borders. They're going to, there's going to be a time of peace. Okay. Um, I believe this could very well start the tribulation. Guys, I'm telling you this you know, not to bring bad news, but to inform you of where we're headed, where I believe we're headed, and also for you to live ready. We need to live ready. Um, like as described at the beginning of this video, live ready. Live for what is to come. Guys, this is all I have for you. Peace out until next time. Know that Life Change, we love you, and hopefully we will be seeing you soon. Take care. God bless.